we are wishing for you to be understanding that you have the ability to command only those resonant frequencies that you wish to be of the receptivity.
But this can happen from what you're saying at any time of the day, where we can just say, I choose to be the receiver of this resonant frequency only. So we might be in the middle of a technology issue, because that usually lowers my frequency. If something's going on techie, that usually lowers my frequency. If I'm tired, my frequency is lower. I can get up and I can say, I choose. Hello everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Galactic Guidance, where Marcus Bird channels an off-world being called Ameed from the Lyra star system. And in this episode, Ameed is going to tell us the one thing that we need to do to remain calm and at peace throughout the whole day. What is it that we need to specifically do or say so that we are in a peaceful, calm state, so that no matter what happens around us, we retain our center. Stay tuned. This is a very practical episode which you can implement immediately. Hello, everybody, and hello, Marcus.
Hey, Eleni, great to see you. Great to be here again.
Very excited for another episode of Galactic Guidance.
Absolutely.
And I'm very excited to hear what our off-world friend Ameed is going to discuss today. For those of you who are listening, Marcus and I don't plan what we're going to talk about. Basically, Marcus just channels and brings through a transmission from Ameed, who is from another star system. And Marcus has been doing this for a good 30 years. So whenever you're ready, Marcus.
Yes, let's play the game, shall we?
Yeah.
Always good fun. Always good fun. All right. See you on the other side.
See you on the other side. So Marcus is now connecting into his spirit guide, who is called Ameed, who is a female energy from the Lyra star system. And if you want to hear as to how Marcus started this connection with Ameed, it's very interesting. It's in episode 1 of Galactic Guidance. He's been doing this for 3 decades, and perhaps just sit down and take in the energy.
There's much of the welcomeness, Miss Eleni. We are much of the pleasedness to being in this of the spaceness with you and with those that are being here and of the presence, and much of the joy.
Much of the joy for me too, Ameed. And I thought this week, rather than me jumping in with a question, I was wanting to ask you, what would you like to bring forward today? What do the people who are listening to this episode need to hear? What is something that is practical for them to listen to understand, as to what do they need to know right now?
One of the aspects that we have been much of sharing and wishing to be of the sharing with you is this the aspect of being in of the what you might be calling in of the commanding of resonant frequencies that you are navigating within, and of the threeness. One of the aspects that we are being seen of so much is what you might be thinking of as the uncontrolled nature of the consciousness reality of the experience of being in of this dimensional reality and being of the humanness. We are seeing many people that are being of the out of the controlness. When we are thinking of the out of the controlness, what we are seeing is that there is not being of the choice of the frequency resonant container or the frequency resonant field that you are tuning into and tuning of. And therefore you are being of the thrown around in many of the different resonant frequencies that are being of the playing out in this moment. What you must be of the remembering as you are transitioning from one dimension of the reality scape to another dimension of the reality scape, you are being able to access many more of the frequencies. What this is being of the doing for many of you is making you be of the receiving of the confusion and not being of the focus and being of the what you'd be calling all over the placeness. What we wish for, wish to be of the sharing is just how you can be of the commanding of this experience. There is two outcomes that are being shown in this moment. One of the outcomes is that many people have much of the narrowness of the frequencies. When you are in of the narrowness of the frequencies, then you are being what you'd be calling of caught in of your belief system, and that you cannot be seeing any other answers or any other perspectives. You are just caught in of the very narrow field of the frequencies. Others are being caught in the expansiveness of the frequencies, and that is causing confusion. That is causing a lack of the focusness. That is then causing of the fatigueness and of the confusion and of the stressness. What we wish to be of the sharing is just how you can be of the commanding of the band of the frequencies that you are seeing in your existence. There are many of the bands of the frequencies, and as being in of the human, you can only be seeing of the certain number of the frequencies at any one given moment in of the time. So you be given of the choice, which band of the frequencies do you wish to be of the same? If you think about this, Miss Eleni, from much of the practicalness, you can be sitting in a band of the negative frequencies. You can be sitting in the band of the neutral frequencies. You can be sitting in the band of the positive frequencies. And you have the choices to be standing or sitting or receiving any of the bands that you wish to be of the receiving. This is not just about thinking of the positive or thinking of the negative or thinking of the neutral state. This is about a receptivity of resonant frequencies in the scope of a field of resonant frequencies that you have the choice to be of the receiving. You are being of the receiving of frequencies in every given moment, in every time space continuum. But some of you are feeling that you are being thrown around with the resonant frequencies, that many are coming into you and you are not in of the controlness. Therefore, you are thinking things that you don't wish to be of the thinking things. And this is making you much of the confusedness. What we wish to be sharing is that you have much of the control to command the band of resonant frequencies that you wish to be of the same. When you are in of the expansive nature, like many of you are now in of the expansive nature, you are seeing multiple and expanded bandwidth of the resonant frequencies. What is then of the happening is that you are being drawn into smaller bands of these resonant frequencies. And sometimes this is causing much of the confusion or much of the stressness. What we wish to be sharing is that you have of the choice. So when you are thinking, when you are meditating, when you are moving through of the time space, you can make of the choice what band of resonant frequencies do you wish to be seen, and you can be then of the removing resonant frequencies that you do not wish to be of the seen. So the question, Miss Eleni, that you must be of the asking is, what band of the frequencies helps me to be of the expanded nature, and in turn be of the healthy of the nature, to be of the stable of the nature, to be of the energized of the nature. And you must be of the choosing bands of resonant frequencies that you not only emit, but you are being of the receptivity in the band that is going to be of the most benefit for you. And everybody has a much of the difference in this of the band, but you have the ability to be of the choosing of the band of resonant frequencies. When we are talking of a band of resonant frequencies, you are looking at both ends of this band of resonant frequencies. If you are looking at the most expansive band of resonant frequencies that is possible, then you are also including every band of those resonant frequencies. And if we are looking at much of the practical nature, you are including of the negative band and of the neutral band and of the positive band. Obviously, Miss Eleni, there's many of the bands that if we were to share every one of these bands would be much of the confusing. But if we are being much of the practical nature of this conversation, then we are looking at things are much like of the negative band, a neutral band, a positive band. When you are being of the expansiveness, you want to be of the expansiveness of a group of these of the bands, whether that is of the neutral band and the positive band. And you must be of the choosing not to include of the negative band. Up until this of the moment, you have not been gifted the ability of the choosing to be clear of the bandwidth that you are interacting in, that you are both emitting and of the receptivity. But you do have of the choice. You have the choice to be receiving whichever bands of frequency that you wish to be of the receiving. So now it is your turn to be of the choosing of which resonant band of frequencies do I wish to be of the receptivity. Sometimes this receptivity is conscious, sometimes this receptivity is unconscious. As we are allowing of the clearing of these resonant frequencies, we can be hearing of the clear of the communication. But when we are inviting in other frequencies, you can see that with of the channel, that you have a disruption in the resonant frequencies. So we are here to be of the sharing, that you have the ability to be of the choosing. What of the bands of resonant frequencies do you wish to be of the receptivity, as much as of the emitting? And many times you'll be thinking of the emitting, but you do be of the forgetting of the receiving. And much of the receiving is of the unconscious nature. So we wish for you to bring of the consciousness to the receptivity of the resonant frequencies that you are being of the receiving. Does this bring of the making of the sense, Miss Eleni?
Yes. So what I'm hearing you say, Ameed, is that we don't realize that we can command the band of the resonant band that we want to bring into our field. Do we just do this by commanding? So do we just say, I command that I am receiving the resonant field of love? Do we just say that out aloud like that? What are the words? How do we express this command?
Yeah, this is much of a truthness. It is much of a speaking of the command, but also of the consciousness of the command. And you could be of the visualizing that there is a band of frequencies that you are wishing to be of the receiving. Because what you are finding is many of you are finding that you have these of the randomness that appears in of your brain. You might have of the randomness of a negative of the thinking. You might have a randomness of the older what you'd be calling of the traumas or of the situations or of the issues. What we are wishing for you to be of the abilities and now is to be of the commanding which of these resonant frequencies that you are tuning into. And therefore, you are detuning resonant frequencies where thereby the randomness will not be of the coming. So if you are tuning, like you are mentioning, Miss Eleni, of the love frequency, and you are being tuning into that of the love frequencies, then you are not going to be having of the random thoughts of things that are not of the love frequency. This is of the opportunity that you have in this of the moment. So yes, you will be commanding with of the voiceness and of the words that in this moment I be choosing this band of resonant frequency. You can then be imagining the actuality of the band of resonant frequencies as if there is this like of the invisible barrier from one frequency to the next frequency. You can see this of the continuum, and then you can see of the negative frequencies, those that are not of the love frequency, sitting outside this band of resonant frequencies that you're being of the choosing. So in the practicality, you bring of the awareness to the resonant frequency bands. You bring of the commanding by being of the saying, I now choose in this moment to be the receiver of this band of the resonant frequency, from this frequency to this frequency, but I am not having any of the other frequencies come in. So I am being of the commanding in this moment to be the receiver of these resonant frequencies. And then you'll be keeping of the tuning into this. You'll be keeping of the awareness of tuning into this. It is much like in of the radio-ness that you'll be listening to, that you are tuning into one of the frequencies. When you are hearing of the other frequencies, the radio is a banding from one little shift to another little shift, and you are receiving other frequencies. What you want to do with of the awareness and of the concentration and being very much of the specificness is to hold the band of resonant frequency that you wish to be of the receptivity to. You be holding of that band. You can be imagining holding of that band. You can be of the awareness that I'm staying of the tuning into this band, and I am releasing any other bands of the frequency. I wish not to be receptivity of that. What you must be understanding is much like of the radios that you'll be listening to. Your radio has the opportunity to connect into any of the bands of the resonant frequency. But when you are tuning in on the radio, it is therefore focused on this one of the bands of the resonant frequency that then you can hear of the radio-ness, but not all the other of the bands. When you are open, when you are not of the awareness of this experience, then you are subject to being of the receiving of any of the bands of resonant frequency. And it is much like that you have your radio just randomly moving all up and down of the radio frequency of the bands. Therefore, you are randomly receiving maybe of the negative frequency, or maybe a visual of the trauma pattern of the situation that you are not much of liking. But if you are conscious and if you are focused and if you are affirming the tuning in of this band of frequency, I only wish to be of the seeing this band of resonant frequency. I'm not tuning into the other band of resonant frequencies, because you are like of the radio. You have the ability to tune into every of the resonant frequency. But if you are not tuning, this tuning is of the consciousness, of the focusedness, of the intentionness, then you are at the subject to be receiving any band of resonant frequency. We are wishing for you to be understanding that you have the ability to command only those resonant frequencies that you wish to be of the receptivity.
I love this, and I will definitely do this, because that is something I do when I drop into meditation, which is I command the resonant frequency that I want channeled through me. But this can happen, from what you're saying, at any time of the day, where we can just say, I choose to be the receiver of this resonant frequency only. So we might be in the middle of a technology issue, because that usually lowers my frequency. If something's going on techie, that usually lowers my frequency. If I'm tired, my frequency is lower. I can get up and I can say, I choose to be the receiver of the resonant frequency of power, of the resonant frequency of love, of the resonant frequency of whatever comes to mind that I need in that moment. So this is really helpful, and what a great practical tip, Ameed. Very, very grateful. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
What you are being of the noticing when you are being sharing this, you can be feeling into of the powerness that this is able to be of the providing. This is helping you tune into of the definiteness of the anchoring into of the truth that you wish to be of the receptivity to. Many of the times you are thinking of the sharing out that you are being given, that you are not in of the receptivity, but you are in of the sharing. And many of you be thinking of the sharing. I'd be sharing out. But you are sometimes be forgetting that you are like of the what you'd be calling of the aerialness, that you are constantly in the receptivity of resonant frequency patterns. These resonant frequency patterns are coming in and through you all of the timeness. One thing that you have to be able to remembering is that your pastness is now in just of the resonant frequency. Your pastness has never been of the leaving. The past does not disappear. The past is held as a resonant frequency of reality. It's just not this resonant frequency of the nowness where your consciousness liveness is existing. But the resonant frequency of the pastness is still of the existing. Just because you tune a radio frequency to another frequency does not mean all the other frequencies are being of the disappearing. They are all still of the existing. Therefore, every experience that you are being of the having, every reality that you are being of the journeying through is still of the existing, just because you are in of the now moment. And this was of the past moment does not mean that it is disappearing. Therefore, of the traumas and of the disappointments and of the painnesses and of the experiences that you are being of the having, they are still of the existing in resonant frequency form. Therefore, they can be of the randomly tuned into. And up until this much of the moment, you have been sensing and been experiencing the randomness of this connection. That all of a sudden you can be being of the walkingness, and a randomness of the frequency thought can be of the appearing, where you might be thinking of an old person that you had an interaction with that you did not much of the likeness. And that random thought can just be of the appearing, but that random thought became of the appearing because you were tuned into that resonant frequency that held that of the randomness of the thought. And you must remember that you are not sitting in one of the resonant frequencies. You are sitting in a band of the resonant frequencies. Therefore, anything within that band of the resonant frequencies can be of the appearing, can be of the randomness, can be of the popping into of the mindness, can be popping into of the heartness. And if you are not liking of these random frequencies and you move your band of resonant frequencies that you are tuning into, you must remember that from a practical nature point of view, that negative frequencies are much of the same band of resonant frequencies, and love frequencies are much of the same band of love frequencies. They are banded together because of the nature of the resonant frequencies. What you would be finding, and you'd be much of aware of this, Miss Eleni, is that the negative, what you'd be considering of the negative thoughts, the negative of the experiences, hold one denseness of resonant frequency. And these thoughtnesses, these pains, these are of the traumas, they all sit together in a band of resonant frequencies. Those are resonant frequencies cannot sit in the love resonant frequency because that is of a different resonant frequency nature. And you could be of the considering that that is of a higher resonant frequency nature, and this is of a lower resonant frequency nature. It is still a different resonant frequency nature. This is why when you are thinking of the negativity, it might be of the funniness that lots of the negativity keeps on the coming. You think of one of the negativities and then you go, oh, there's another negativity. Oh my, there's another negativity. And then you will be seeking and experiencing that the whole world is of a negativity. Why should be I participating in this yuckiness of the horribleness? But what you are experiencing is you are connecting into a band of resonant frequencies that are much of the similarness. They are sitting in of the same range of resonant frequency. But you have of the choiceness to then move that band, that you can move out of a band of resonant frequencies. Because in your dimensional reality, in this existence, in this of the moment, you can only sit in a certain band of resonant frequencies at any one given of the momentness. It is much of the difficultness for you to sit in every band, of being much of the awareness of every band of resonant frequencies that being of the existing. You can be tuning into any of these frequencies, and sometimes you can be sitting in on the meditation and be aware of a multitude of bands of resonant frequencies. But when you are in of the awareness, when you are moving in of the space, of the time and space continuum, very much of the hardness to be tuning into every of the resonant frequencies. And sometimes when you'll be trying, you'll be getting into the overwhelm of all of the resonant frequencies. So what you will be trying to do to be much more of the healthiness, much more of the stable, you are tuning into a particular band of resonant frequencies that you're being of the choosing. Yes, there are some times you can sit back and go, I am going to be tuning into all of the resonant frequencies just for 1 minute, just to be of the experience of this. But if you are not of the carefulness, you can get into of the overwhelm because there's many resonant frequencies. And then you can be having random thoughts of the positive and of the negative and of the this and of the that. And that can be much of the overwhelming. Therefore, it is much more of the stable nature to be sitting in of a band of resonant frequencies for most of the timeness. And in this moment, you have of the choice to be of the choosing which of these bands of resonant frequencies do I wish to be of the experience in this moment. Now it is of time for you to be commanding which band of the resonant frequencies I wish to be existing in this of the moment.
And that will definitely be my new mantra throughout the day. I will definitely be commanding to choose to be the receiver of the resonant frequency that I want to receive in that moment. So once again, thank you so much, Ameed, for this beautiful transmission. And whenever you're ready to bring Marcus through.
Making sure, Miss Eleni, that you be thinking of the band of resonant frequencies, not just of the one, but be sitting in, this is the band of resonant frequencies that I wish to be of the sitting in. If it is for of the example that is of the love frequency, what you can be considering, Miss Eleni, is what is the boundary of that band of resonant frequencies? At one end, that this could be of much higher love, just deeper, passionate love, just be lost in of the loveness. And at the other end, it could be much of the likeness. Oh, I just like stuff. I like of my car and I like of my house, but I love of my partner. I'm passionate with my partner. So you can see this is what the band that you wish to be choosing into. So as much as you be of the commanding, I wish to be in the love band of resonant frequency, you can also be in of the choosing how broad does this band of the love resonant frequency exist for me? Therefore, you are then choosing, and I will be receiving of things that I like, and I'll be receiving things that I am passionate about. I'll be receiving in the band of like and passion, or I'll be receiving in the band of love and passion. This is what you must be of the choosing as you are being commanding of this. Be setting all of the band of resonant frequency that you wish to be of the experiencing in. Does this be of the making sense, Miss Eleni?
Yes, yes. Thank you for clarifying that. So
Much good.
it's not just about choosing to be the receiver of a resonant frequency. It's choosing to be the receiver of a band of resonant frequency, and within that band, we need to have boundaries. Where does the band start and where does the band end? That makes perfect sense.
Much of
Thank
the
you for
truth,
clarifying
Miss.
that.
This
Thank
has
you.
been one of the much of the problems that we have been seeing is many of you have been choosing. I just want to be seeing of the love. I just only of the love, only of the love. And this is much of a narrow band of resonant frequency. And this is not how in an expansive dimensional reality like you are much of going through, you cannot be sitting in much of the smallness, the narrowness of the band. You are in of an expansive nature in this moment. Therefore, you have to allow of the expansive nature to be of the existing. Therefore, we ask you to set of the expanded band frequency that you wish to be of the experiencing and of the seeing. This is much of the exciting, and we are much of the love, much of the gratitude, much of the joy.
Thank you.
Oh. Hello.
How are you feeling, Marcus?
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm feeling okay. Yeah. How was that?
That was really good. Really good, really good practical galactic guidance.
Yay.
Yeah, it was
Yay.
excellent in terms of we now need to be the ones that command what we're going to be the receiver of at any one moment during the day. It doesn't have to be just during meditation, and we have to be specific. So we need to command to choose to be the receiver of a band of resonant frequency. And if that
Yeah.
band is love,
Yeah.
then we need to specify where does love begin and where does love end. Is
Yeah.
this something, Marcus, that you do?
It is now. This is something she spoke to me about a few days ago, right? Because during the last sort of full moon or the last cycle that we had recently, I got really destabilized and, and a lot of old yucky stuff came up and I was like, I don't want this stuff. Like, it's not true any longer. It's not real. And so she actually sat me down and she said, do this. And I went, okay, I'm choosing this thing. And since then, I wake up, even if whatever's going on is going on, right? And nothing's perfect all the time, right? Kids do kids thing, business does business thing. Even though, and it was instant, the shift. So let's imagine the day before there were some business things going on and it made me a bit sad and frustrated and a bit angry. Oh no, blah, blah, blah. And then I went to bed, got up, she said, do this. And ever since I've just gone, so nothing physically has changed. There's still stuff going on, of course, it's life. But I just have this, I'm only sort of receiving this calm, harmonious, everything's beautiful and wonderful thing. And it's actually got me confused for about 24 hours because I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like, there's this stuff going on, and I probably should be a bit anxious or worried or upset or disappointed or whatever I should be. And I just like it. Nothing's phasing it. It's been kind of interesting to watch, and it's almost like I'm immune to the disappointment of that, or the anger of that, or the frustration of that, or the whatever stuff we want to believe. It's almost like I've become immune to it. It's really interesting. So I was wondering whether she would bring this up, because it's something she showed me or did with me a couple of days ago, and I went, oh wow, that's kind of interesting. It's just changed a lot. It's fascinating.
Yeah, and it's interesting that she was very particular and specific about us being very specific about the band and the boundaries. What is
Yeah.
in that band? What is it that we want to be the receiver of?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because how I related to was because last night I had a meditation, and in that meditation I sort of felt that unless I have a burning desire to do something, like I have to be literally shaking, I'm not going to do it. But
Okay.
I guess what she's saying is to be a little bit more open than that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it doesn't have to be that feeling every time. It
Yeah.
doesn't have
Yeah.
to be the, oh
Yeah.
my God, this is what I've got to do next. It
Yeah.
can just be like a warm feeling of
Yeah. Yeah.
liking something, or
Okay. Yeah.
so
Or whatever
so
you
to be a
said, I
little bit,
suppose. Just whatever you.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
My band's
Makes sense.
quite narrow in terms
Yeah.
of what I want to bring into my field. Like, I have to be shaking to my core in order to be
Yeah.
doing something. But what she's
Interesting.
saying is like, just like maybe it can be a little bit, I don't know. She's saying
Yeah.
just define it. Be
Yeah.
very define. What is it? What is it that you want to be the
Yeah.
receiver of? Is it
Yeah.
okay just to like something and not to be passionately in love with something?
Yeah. Totally. Totally. Is that the width of band, or whatever you want to call it, that you wish to experience?
There's no right answer, but at least it
No,
gives us
there's not.
the opportunity to discern.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And not be at the mercy of any band appearing. Do you know what I mean? Like randomly appearing, and we do have those random thoughts appear that are whatever. But it's interesting, when you tune into the band, those random thoughts don't appear any longer. They just don't, because you're choosing not to tune into or be receptive of that frequency. I'm only going to want to be a receiver of this frequency. That's what I'm tuning into in this moment. And anything else is just nothing. Like, it still exists, of course. It's still out there. It's still doing its thing, but I don't hear that. Choosing only to hear this or be the receiver of this.
Yeah. And what a good way to start the intention in the morning.
Yeah,
So to actually
totally,
set the intention for the day.
totally, totally, totally. Yeah. It was kind of interesting. One of the experiences she gave me as she was teaching this or sharing this with me was, she showed me like negative, like dark energies. So in my therapy type work, I work with energies and entities and that sort of stuff. And in one moment, she showed it appearing, that bandwidth of those energies, and it was dark. It was horrible, and I was like, "Oh my God, how do I get rid of this?" And she goes, "You don't. You just shift bands. That will still exist, so you can't actually get rid of it per se, because you can move it away from you. You can, but if you actually shift, and in an instant, I shift bands, and that all disappeared, and no longer sort of have any effect. And my fear or worry or concern just disappeared, and then I was in this other band, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Instant
And
shift.
you're basically in your power then.
Totally.
You decide
Totally.
what, like she said,
Correct.
radio station you want to listen to.
Correct. Rather than the radio choosing for you, or something else choosing for you, or the whatever choosing for you. So yeah, totally.
You just
Totally.
decide.
You decide. Anyway, it's kind of interesting.
It is. Thank you so
Excellent.
much, Marcus,
Oh,
for
thank you.
bringing this powerful transmission, and
Yeah.
very, very practical, and something we can implement immediately. So thank you so
Yay.
much.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for listening and watching and sharing. Much appreciated.
Awesome. Thank you for tuning in to Galactic Guidance. We hope that the messages that you receive from the higher realms have brought you clarity, insight, and comfort. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Remember to stay connected to your own inner guidance and trust the journey ahead.